With us today, we have Dr. Neil Nedley, who is the president of the Weimar Institute, in addition to being the founder and director of the Nedley Depression and Anxiety Recovery Program. He is also working here on the campus in his outpatient clinic, seeing patients in the community, in addition to working as a hospitalist in the Auburn community. And we're very grateful to have him with us today. He's very busy often, doing presentations and traveling around quite a bit. So we're thankful to have you with us in the studio today.
Thank you, Matthew.
So something we've been talking about is fresh air. And we obviously know that fresh air has a profound effect on our bodies. But we're wondering what kind of effects it has on the mind specifically.
Well, it's actually mood elevating, and it's actually been shown to improve our learning capacity. And fresh air, it particularly is induced or produced as a result of what we call negative ions. And this will happen when we have a moving ocean surf, when we have waterfalls, evergreen trees, even after a thunderstorm. All that lightning actually produces these negative ions. And if you go outside after a thunderstorm and breathe very deeply, there's something just mood elevating about that and very refreshing. And so, and of course, the opposite can also occur, positive ions. And this is what can happen in desert storms. And it's been known, particularly in the Middle East, before the dust of that storm actually gets there, these positive ions are ahead of the dust storm. And for maybe even an hour before the dust arrives, people's moods will just plummet. They'll get angry and irritable, and they're not even sure why, but it's due to what is in the air, that lack of fresh air, the very opposite of what we get when there's a lot of greenery around.
Wow, so having things like large bodies of water, greenery, you mentioned breathing in deeply after like a rainstorm or something like that can really have quite a positive effect on our mental health.
It can, yes.
So you do a program here called the Nedley Depression and Anxiety Recovery Program, and we understand that one of the components you teach your patients about is fresh air.
Yes.
And we're wondering if maybe you could tell us a little bit about how fresh air relates to depression, and in what ways someone who's depressed might alter how they're breathing in order to have a more positive effect.
Well, one of the things we teach them in regards to breathing is to breathe very deeply. In fact, often when you're outside, it's good to reduce the number of breaths per minute so that you're breathing deeply. And so we'll recommend practicing, so you're breathing maybe 3 times a minute, no more than 6 times a minute. And so, of course, that would be, breath every 10 seconds. And if you're doing it every 3 times a minute, that's every 20 seconds. So that's breathing very deeply. Oxygen saturation goes up when you do that. The ability to get rid of toxins and carbon dioxide in our pulmonary system actually is improved as well. And this is something we can just remind ourselves to do. In our sedentary society, there's a lot of people that don't deep breathe. They don't exercise that much. And if we aren't exercising, it's good at least every hour to try to get to a place where there's some fresh plants and some greenery around, and take 3 deep breaths, using a whole minute for that. And it can change your mood instantaneously.
Wow. So the average human, how many times are they breathing per minute? Because you mentioned that you're having some people breathe 3 times or 6 times a minute, which seems like a rather low amount to be breathing each minute.
Yeah, average is 12 to 16 times a minute when people aren't thinking about it.
I see.
But when you actually think about breathing deep, there are sustained benefits beyond just that time when you're breathing deeply. A lot of people think, okay, that's helped me for now, but those benefits actually last an entire hour.
So you recommended doing it, you said about once every hour for about a minute, breathing deeply?
Those 3 deep breaths, 1 every 20 seconds or so, for that entire minute. And then if you're studying or doing other sedentary things, taking that break and doing it on the hour is often the best way.
Maybe getting up and combining it with some sort of study break, or walking around and getting both.
Exactly, yes, because sitting itself can prevent us from getting as deep a breath as we would otherwise when we're standing as well.
Fascinating. So you can kind of just combine the two together.
There you
Wonderful.
go.